Hello, this is Bino. I'm an arborist and a tree climber specialist, and what I like to do on my channel is share tree climbing tips with beginners and experts. What I want to do today is share with you guys the very first mechanical friction hitch that I've ever used. It's the Rock Exotica Unicender, this thing here. So I've had this for a bunch of years. I don't really use it a whole heck of a lot, but it is actually the actual one that I use first before any of the other friction hitches that I have. So what I want to do today is go over how to use this in an MRS configuration. All right, let's get to it. So to use this in an MRS system, it's fairly simple. You'll put a carabiner to the bottom and I'll connect to your saddle, and then you'll have a carabiner to this top ring here. And so first what I'll do is I'm going to get a carabiner and connect it to my saddle with a double fisherman's bend. So I'll get this going here. I'm going to use a double fisherman's bend. Okay, got that connected. All right, so I'll connect that to the Unicender in a moment. Now to install the Unicender, what you do, it's pretty simple. So here's the top, and then this is the bottom. To install it, they have these little C looking links. They're connected to links and they're like C configuration. All you have to do is pop the rope into that C, and you don't miss any of them. You put one in each C, boom, and once it's in, now that's connected. Okay, so the next thing I'll do is I'll get this termination end and I'll connect that termination to the top right here, and then the other part, the Unicender, I will connect to my belt. Now you should probably have a capture here so your carabiner won't roll. Well, actually it probably on here it can't go all the way through, but it would probably be safer to have a capture here. What I'll do now, with this Unicender, if you have a longer tether, then you can do like a body thrust. When you move, it'll go up. So I've seen it where Rock Exotica, or I don't know who does it, but it's a tether with a friction cord, so you can make the length of your tether get long or short. But what I have right here is a very long bridge. What I'll do is I'll connect it to this, and that's how I'm going to proceed my way up. So it's fairly simple. You do it just like a regular body thrust. And because I have this extra length of a bridge, every time I pull, my Unicender will tend upward. So what I'll do is I'll go up and I'll walk on the limb. I'll show you how to engage the descent. There's a couple different ways that I'm better at using the rope. I'll show you how that works. So put a little bit of tension, get off to the ground, put my feet on the tree, and now just like a regular body thrust, move up the tree. So when you start body thrusting, every time that you're going to pull, it will ascend upward. So it's pretty cool because it's just like regular MRS system. If you have a longer tether, you could probably do a little bit longer pulls. Okay, so now that I'm up here, I'm going to move around and show you a little bit how it descends. All right, so to engage the mechanism to descend, you wrap your rope around and you pull this. Now what that allows is for friction, and then it engages the opening of the eyes, and then you can descend. But you got to you throttle this rope, and once you do, snap it off, and now it's engaged. So there's another way where you hold this and you can engage it, but if you're say if you're like in midair and you do this, it could go quite fast. So it'd be kind of scary. That's kind of how that works. And then to come back in, just tend your line and to body thrust again. All right. Now what I'll do is I'll go back down and I'll show you another way to do it to advance upward. So I'm going to do this again where I wrap. The bar is here. You put your rope around the bar and now you engage, and with your hand you throttle your rope. If I let it run through your hand, you can kind of go pretty quick if you want, but I don't really like to. Oops. Hang on. There it goes. And now it back to the ground. So next I'll set up where I'll use an ascender on my foot. Now I'll show you a different way. That first way, having a long tether, then you could just use it like regular body thrusting. But if you didn't want to use a long tether and you have a foot ascender, all you have to do is connect it to your saddle like a post that's kind of close to you. All you have to do is just the bottom link or bottom carabiner. You don't have to take it all apart. You get it all into, oops, that's all twisted. Sorry about that. Let me untwist this. Untwist it. That's better. Then I'll connect it back to me. Okay, connect it right there. Ta-da. Now, get it all ready. It's very simple. All you need to do, now that you have it here, you don't have to connect it to anything else, because this top will pull every time you put your foot on it. It'll start tending it upward. You just put your foot ascender on. I got a jet step, and now what I'll do is every time I'm going to engage my foot, it starts pulling up my slack. So it's just as simple as walking up a tree. It's still half motion because it's MRS system. It's not a SRT, but it really helps going up. It's really not so difficult. You can do long motions. All right, now once you're up, same kind of thing. You disconnect your foot ascender. And same thing. To move around, there's this where you can grab. I've never been great at this, but you grab this, and once you engage, you can descend. Now that one's always kind of scary because I tend to grab it too tight and then I run. Oops. Then I run. It's not so good. Or you wrap it around and then you hold this. And now you could descend and walk out on limbs. And then once you get to a limb or you're on a branch, then you can throttle it this way. Makes it a lot easier. And then you can use it basically almost like a pulley. Sometimes if this pops out, it's not good though. You want to keep it on that L, and then you just use it kind of like a regular old MRS system. What's also good about this is it's good with MRS, and with this same system you don't have to do or change anything out. You can also use it in an SRS system. But today we're just going to show this MRS. Oops. There we go. All right, now I'll descend back down to the ground by wrapping. And then with my hand, I'll let it run. And then just use the amount that you want to use to come on down. There you go. The Unicender in an MRS configuration. Well, there you have it, the Unicender in an MRS configuration. Really simple piece of equipment to use. Simple in the way that you just connect. You put the rope through each of those pieces, the C-looking pieces, and then you connect it to your termination to the top, and then the bottom connected to your saddle. And there's, you know, the two different ways you can use it, with a foot ascender or with a tether and a body thrusting motion, and it tends your line for you. In both configuration, it'll do that. It's not a bad piece of equipment. Honestly, it was my very first mechanical friction hitch that I used, and I hadn't done anything on it, so I thought this would be a cool opportunity. All right, comment, like, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell if you like what we do. And by all means, share our videos. Take care.